Good evening and welcome. Tonight is Tuesday, November 24th. This is the Hendrick Hudson Board of Ed meeting. We're currently in session. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any items anybody would like pulled from the consent agenda? Can I get a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda? So moved. All those in favor? Items removed from the consent agenda, if you could please go to 4.1. And there is a donation of $1,500 for the graduating class of 2016. And this is I assume it's for a student for an art. Well, okay, so it says student for an art award. I assume it will be for a scholarship for a student of ours who is proficient or more than proficient in art. Thank you to the family that did contribute this. That was very generous, and thank you for remembering Hendrick Hudson and our students going forward. Can I get a motion to approve this donation? Second. All those in favor? Okay, that brings us to our superintendent's report.
Oh. Get a motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, I thought that was the first thing I did.
No,
Okay.
we did consent.
So moved.
Okay, sorry. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Thank you so
All in
much.
favor? Thank you. That's why you get the big money, so you can straighten me out.
Oh, this is cute.
In the interest of time, turkey, and family, I will forego my report, and we'll have a full superintendent's report on December 9th.
Okay. Committee reports. I know the policy reports, there are two policies that are up for discussion, and that will probably fill for the policy committee. Are there any other? I know it's been quite a couple of weeks, probably because it's been a short couple of
Beth
weeks.
Gruber and I went and dropped off calendars to the Superior and senior citizens.
Thank you very much, and I'm sure they were happy to receive
They
it.
were very happy.
Barbara and I went to the Frank G. Lindsay PTA meeting.
They had the awards, didn't they? The Golden
We
Lion.
missed the awards though because they changed the time and forgot to tell us.
Such a positive reinforcement. Okay.
You didn't check online.
So then that brings us to the review of the budget
They never had
calendar.
it updated.
Enrique?
Their lights were out before and they changed the date and then they changed the
Basically, we reviewed the calendar past meeting. There were no changes. So this is going to be the official calendar for the 2016-17 school year. If you see, we left an extra week at the end, so we can get comments from the community.
Perfect. That would be the 22nd and the, would be the 22nd then, correct? Is the
Yeah.
date?
The 31st.
Then the review, and then the 31st would be the, okay, so you're saying that you're going to, the final review will be the 22nd, and then the 31st is when we actually publish it?
Yes.
Okay.
When was the actual last time that people can request changes to the budget, that the community or the public can request a change to the budget, and that we have enough time to debate it?
On the 22nd, because on April 6th, that's when the budget will be approved by the board. So if the board decides on April 6th to make any changes, we can still do it. But that would be something special. For the community to ask for changes, March 22nd, I'll say, is a final budget review with the community, with the board. That's when the board will ask any changes, so the board can approve the budget on April 6th.
Can we put a line in there that kind of states that underneath March 22nd?
Sure.
Last opportunity for the community public to request changes in the budget.
It says final budget review, I think just
It says
is
final
articulating
budget
further.
review, but sure, we'll
Okay.
do it.
You just put a line in,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
even color it.
In red, the red line.
Dollar signs.
Yes, some dollar signs.
Now, on December 12th, we're talking about the adoption of the budget calendar. Oh, wait, that was
That's November
12th.
12th.
We did that
Okay.
already.
In January, we're having a budget review. Is it possible for us to have a review of our actual versus budgeted expenses or from last year's budget?
You mean preliminarily, before that?
Yeah, before then, say in December. Can we look at how we performed against our last budget? I know we got our audit last month, and it's got a summary of our actual versus budgeted
I
costs.
can send it tomorrow.
No, I think Charles is asking that is like a presentation of sorts, just how, looking at our budget versus using the final.
final.
Yes, and how they compared, how close you were.
That's what I'm saying. I can send it tomorrow if that's what you want.
And maybe we can have a conversation, did some sort of presentation on the night?
Yeah. Sit
Can that be fitted?
just
that
kinda
could be
look
fitted,
through it.
correct?
There it is.
And
No, based on what's being covered on the ninth.
Actually, for the finance committee, I sent the agenda. That was one of the points of the agenda. So if you want, next week I'll have it for the finance committee. We'll review it and then we can make the presentation. We can make it as
It's not your-
general as you want and as actual per account code as you
No,
want.
but it would be, because actually I have the agenda here. It's not year to date, it's what happened in
In-
14, 15 compared to what you anticipated versus what actually was
Yes.
spent. I think, well, we can talk about that in finance
And we
committee,
can- that's
how
what I'm saying.
specific.
How
That'd be great,
specific.
okay.
let's start with real specific and then come out. How would it look? How hard is it to prepare for that? And then come back out.
I mean, being specific, we're talking about 500 account codes. If you want to go one by one, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
like
we
60
I
want
don't
to
think
do
pages.
anybody,
that.
that's, we'd have to like,
Yeah, so
wouldn't be done before the
probably
holidays.
we'll do it. I'll bring you several options. Probably we'll do like 20.
Mhm.
Okay,
That sounds good.
thank you.
I had another request for a budget calendar. If we could be clear on what the board is receiving right at each, make sure we know to get the budget book, for example, I'd say a month before March 22nd when we approve it. Sometime around the 10th or the.
I totally agree with you. There's only one problem. The problem is that we don't know when we get the information from the state. So that's 20% of our revenue.
When did we get it last year?
We got it exactly,
I'm just trying
remember,
to remember the date.
in the vacation. Remember, that was the issue
So that would have been
was.
mid-March, okay. But I mean, if we could just do,
We can get we won't have the
correct, if we
money.
could have, if we could just have it,
Sure.
at least do a preliminary one and anticipate it from the state, and we'll just do
Right.
that. And if we could have that by, say, like March 1st, since you were saying the 22nd or so,
Yeah,
which would be the final
or even,
review.
I would even like to see by the 24th, because the K-12 budget is our.
Well, I think if we have the K-12 budget, and then
Yeah.
whatever changes are made,
That's
and then
true.
we can have, so if by March 1st, with the
Okay.
anticipated state revenue.
And I would just ask also for the K-12 budget, that's the 80% of our budget, that we have a line-by-line full examination of the budget, not just a, not
Taking
just the
those Margaret.
changes. Because in the past, what we've done in the past,
Watch the video.
We'll give you a couple of months, Margaret.
the way the precedent has evolved, we've only really articulated the changes at the meeting.
It's
We
3
really
months
need to
from
see
today.
the budget. But it's really supposed to be a line by line, so you can see what the actual expenditures are.
Could, in our budget last year, you changed it up and you put in the FTEs. Yeah. Can we do a summary of FTEs, like at each building or in each program, toward the end of it? Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
That'll be conversations through finance too, just to see, because again, you don't want these to last, I mean, it's clearly important, but I mean, all night long either, I mean,
no.
it's, no, but I mean, not just because, like, for one body that's, here or not there, we thought it was here or something.
A summary's good. The other thing, though, to follow what Marion was talking about on the deliverables, like for the January 13th meeting, we usually get our agenda the week before, so the budget documents will come with that agenda.
Well, actually, no, we were hoping to have the budget book by March 1st.
No, I'm saying for each meeting, as we go to look at January 13th, January 27th, each time we do a program budget, each time we do
You
a
mean
separate
the central
section.
office and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
one
we'll
on
have something
athletic
coming out
and
the week.
technology?
The idea
Well,
is that the finance committee, instead of meeting Monday of the same week, will meet
The week
Wednesday,
before.
let's say Tuesday or Wednesday of the prior week, to discuss. So by Wednesday, you'll have the first draft. If there's no comments, or there is, I have 2 days through Friday to finalize it, and the whole board should get it Friday with the package.
The weekend
And then
before.
and then they'll
The
have 4
weekend.
days to review it,
Yeah,
or 5 days.
I think some of the
5 days.
issues where our schedule is trying to get us together as a finance committee and enough lead time of a board meeting, and sometimes we can only meet the same week of a board meeting, which meant we couldn't pump out information to the rest of the board the Friday before the board meeting. So, as Enrique said, if we can commit as a finance committee on the off weeks of a board meeting, then we'll have plenty of time to vet it, deliberate,
Mhm.
get the presentations out that Friday, and then we all have the conversation the following week.
Well, I'm actually, if the rest of the board has any comments, we
Exactly.
still
It's
have
got
3
5
days,
days,
not
but-
only the finance committee.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so that's a couple of changes that'll take place. Anything else? Good. Thank you very much. That brings us to our first reading for policy for compulsory, policy number 5130, compulsory attendance ages. You guys have, why don't you
have
start?
to start.
Okay, so I can,
Oh.
Marion and I were trying to decide.
Oh.
You
All
get the
right.
next one.
New York law requires each child to
Move
attend
way
a,
further.
thank you.
I just, he wants the opportunity just to say that.
My favorite part of the board meeting.
Shortening it?
We can on him.
So basically, the change is just to move from, it was 16 years old, to move it to 17.
Right. The prior policy was that first sentence that was the strike through, that was the whole policy.
Wow.
So we thought it needed a little bit more meat to the matter, so to speak, and to change the age from
1987, I think that the one-line policy was.
87, yeah.
I'm not sure, this, since it's a first reading,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
such a huge thing. I'm not sure what this means, the second paragraph, to attend upon full day instruction. to attend upon, or maybe take out to attend?
That was just right from the law.
Just take
Which
upon
is
out?
not always, yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if there was something else that was supposed to have been said there.
No, it's just, we
Okay.
just pasted that right from,
Yeah,
Okay.
Roseanne and I had that exact
Right, so
same
I
I read the
conversation.
same thing,
Me
I said,
too.
it doesn't make sense to me.
No, I thought maybe something else, it's like
I
somebody
thought it was
cut and
some
pasted wrong or
legalese.
something.
no, it was
It's
legalese,
right
it just
from the
pasted right from
legalese. Okay.
3205, but I think we can definitely take it out. And this is a work in progress because we kind of did this,
Remotely.
with,
Electronic.
piecing together certain parts, and the reason we, put this second paragraph as a separate paragraph is because New York state law allows, or requires students to attend till 16, and we wanted to, give the district more flexibility to make it 17 and to improve our graduation rate, which I think is, we all think is positive. And the law does say that if students who are not employed, don't have to, which seems a little archaic to me, but if we want to keep that in, that's what the law says. That's right.
So, but I'm just curious, if a student, and since a student decides that when he's 16 years old, he's going to get a full-time job, he doesn't have to go to college, he doesn't have to continue in high school?
That is
As long
what
as
the
he's
law.
completed a full course of study.
No.
Well, the law says if he's not employed.
So
Law-
he would be allowed to drop out and work at Dunkin' Donuts? I mean, rather than
Unless his parents,
continue.
of course, yes.
Right.
So we could
If the
take.
parents, but the parents can make him
Can we change
show
that
up, can they
then?
not? Can't they do that till, but the parents can make him, they
Parents are-
can make
yeah.
him till he's 18, correct?
Right.
No.
I mean,
Well, if you,
no?
No.
I don't think parents can't make kids go to school.
well, they can. They can.
Can in my house.
You're going- I mean, it's not, it's a question of what's the right school and how you know.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
understand like what the legal requirement is.
The legal requirement is that if the student is employed, you're not going to have, you don't have to be in school, even if there's a compulsory attendance age to the district till 17. So, which doesn't, some districts have taken out the language just for the policy purposes, taking out who are employed, because then you could come back and,
But you can't if New York State says one thing. I mean, this has to correspond to New York State, whether or not we agree. I mean,
yeah, and I just, as I said, we copied this right from the law, so it wasn't, but it does seem a little odd, it really does.
it does.
I agree.
Will this change, will this change our requirements? I know that we go above and beyond anyway. When a child is suspended, New York state law says that after age 16, you don't have to provide them with tutoring. So will this add?
This will allow
This
us
will
to
allow,
provide
yes.
tutoring.
That was
For
one
the
of the
extra
reasons we
year.
wanted to do this,
Yep.
actually, because
Yep.
we want the students to get the tutoring,
Should we go to age 18 or 17? 17 is the earliest.
The law says you can make it compulsory to 17, you can't make it compulsory to 18.
Because 17 is really the first age that you could graduate. I mean, I graduated high school when I was 17,
All right, so this is a first reading.
This is a first reading, take a look at it, it's a little awkward, I think, in the writing, because we kind of did it quickly, and,
We meet in
we
December.
can, we can
Yeah,
research,
first week of
I know, I looked at New York City,
The first week?
the chancellor's
So this
regulations.
can be on the
Oh, yeah.
December 9th one. Okay.
I looked at the chancellor's regulations in New York City, which does require it to be 17, and they did not include this language about the employment. So we might want to just take it out for a policy and then note that it's the law if a person questions it. It just seems a little awkward.
We don't want to get Jack Briggy in on this.
Yeah, because he wants to work like doing, he'd rather come here. He's got his,
Also, there's students that go to college before the age of 17.
yeah, but it talks about the 4 years, so including, a
Yeah,
minor who has
minors
completed
completed
4
4 years
years
high
not
school.
Well, they don't
required.
have to attend.
Yeah, because I looked at
No,
that.
no, but without the 4 years of high school.
No, but the course of study, they could have,
Okay.
with the sufficient credits needed, they've graduated, so.
Yeah, and
Yeah, so
that's
maybe
an
that's-
important point because we have to, for every student that graduates early, meaning not in their cohort, we have to let the state education department know and attest their transcript because otherwise they would be seen as a non-completer.
I was going to say, should that be prefaced, the
happened
minor who has
broadly
completed?
with my son
Yeah.
because he only went for 2 years of high school. Radcliffe had to fight to not to call it a drop-down.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I was going to, or is that, would it make sense to add something like that, be the four-year course of study, or that's, you know,
Yeah, maybe
just
a completed,
specify that, or,
yeah,
or
maybe a-
credit, reference
yeah,
credits, or?
right, maybe it's not, it may not be a 4-year.
Yeah,
So-
that graduation
They have to
requirement.
meet
is
the
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's the statement.
Yeah,
That's
but
the-
not
Yeah,
a graduation
that's good.
requirement.
Yes. All right, so this will come back, and we'll see it again in about 2 weeks then. All right, thank you very much. Our second policy is purchasing, policy number 6700.
So we talked about this 2 weeks ago. This came out of immediate, I'm just
So
giving
Charles
background.
gets to say
Go
stuff.
ahead.
All right, go ahead, Charles.
You gotta
Oh,
start
wait,
reading.
no. I have to start reading.
So Charles can say.
I'd rather hear you read,
You gotta make
Carol.
his night.
It is the policy of the
Moved away
board.
further.
How many words of the policy do we actually have to read?
We don't really have to.
One.
Yes, what we do to make Charles happy.
So
It's a
we talked
small
about
joy.
this. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. This policy comes at the feedback from our auditors, who said it's great that you have a policy that references purchasing general municipal law, but our policy is at odds with general municipal law. So our recommendation is to follow general municipal law forever, and not have a dollar amount tied to the policy, because every time the dollar amount changes, we have to change the policy, which is exactly why we're here tonight right now. So our recommendation is to adopt the language that follows general municipal law, and should that change, therefore our policy is in compliance. And should that change, we would let the board know anyway through the audit committee and other mechanisms.
I like it.
We just capitalize districts and then the change.
Okay.
I have a change. In the second to last paragraph, where it says maximum quality at the lowest possible cost.
Well,
Yeah.
Quality, when you say quality in this way, it's not defined. Quality means meeting, in this way, in this meaning, quality means meeting specifications. When you just say maximum quality, quality is a vague group of things, and so it needs to say
Specifications.
meeting specifications,
Yeah, I
because
get that.
quality
That's good.
means that it meets the
How would we know
specifications.
if the
It's
quality?
it's gotta be our specs. It's gonna be in our specs.
Yeah, so it just needs,
Needs to be defined meets the qualification.
services that meet specifications, and how you define specifications, and that's how you
It
define
best
quality.
meets our
Yeah, I think that's-
specifications.
Now, the other one that I just want to be sure that we don't get into a problem is where it says similar procurements to be made in a fiscal year will be grouped together. What if we need a procurement in September of $9,000, but then we need another one again in May for $9,000? Does it mean that the second one we need to make an RFP or no?
I would think where
But-
possible or within a certain, I see what you're
It's
saying.
like you see it says a year, but how would I know that I'm not going to need, let's say that one of these microphones is 9,000 and it broke. How do I know that in May another one is not going to break?
Well, maybe what, if you buy, like, the limit is what, 20,000? No, it's, what is, if it
The
doesn't,
limit is 10 and 20, but
so, but I mean, if it comes in the first one under 10, like say it's 9,000, then you have to buy another one, we would have to get approval, I would think, on the second one, even though that
That's
also
my
comes
question.
underneath.
Yeah.
that would be
So
the-
when that comes, so we would have to, I would say maybe that needs to be written a little bit better, or not better, but so that procurements that,
that follows in the year.
or that that surpass the, that, you know, surpass the limit, you know, or
But
procurements.
follows and surpass.
That, you know, so like the second one, even though it's under the limit of under $10,000 limit, it brings it to 18,000. So maybe that second one needs to be approved even
That's what
if the
I'm
first
saying.
one doesn't?
Well, the way it sounds here is that even the first one
But it's
should
not.
be even, you see,
Yeah.
or that's why we need clarifications, because the auditors are getting very picky on.
So I'm wondering if, I mean, we're not going to approve this tonight, we would do it in 2 weeks, but we could probably talk to our auditors about a
Appropriate
regulation that would go
Yeah.
behind it, about, you know, spelling out timelines of.
Well, the
of when
timeline I'll do it a
procurements-
year, because that's when, okay, I know, I just want a report, and I know that each year I already put one of these,
Yeah.
and it cost me 9,000. So if I need a second one in May, okay, then I need to bid for the second. I
Alright.
think
So-
that makes a lot of sense for,
The auditors must have language for that then. I would think that,
Well-
I think maybe that's your starting point.
We'll ask them, and sometimes auditors don't want language, so they can give you feedback at the end of each year. But we can start with them.
All right, so then
When we
both of
talked
these,
about the net delivered price, that's actual cost to us. So we ran into that with some contracts we did a few years ago where it would actually cost us more to go get it. We were passing up a supplier to go get a cheaper thing. So net delivered costs, when we had the various and sundry items, we had to go past one supplier to another supplier because it was cheaper bid at the other place, at the hardware store.
yeah, but our approved item is right across the street.
yes, now I remember, yes. What it means is that if I need to go to the hardware store, and it will not cost me anything to get whatever the material, instead of going to Home Depot, and the material is so cheap that the price of sending the person plus everything, that's what we
Correct, you're
we
paying
mean
more for that,
net,
yeah.
Yes.
net price,
The price of everything that's involved in the purchase.
everything.
So then we are allowed to send them across the street to Buchanan Hart as opposed to sending them over, just
Even though
because
it's
well,
more expensive, but it will
the
be
item
less
is,
expensive
correct. With
because
labor and hours and
I
time.
don't need an hour of the custodian, etc.
Okay, nope, fine,
Yeah.
that's good.
That's why I think that we did that net last time because of that issue.
Okay, all right.
And it was harvested.
Okay, so this will be addressed again, and this will also come back to the next meeting or two. Okay. All right, that brings us to the end of our meeting. We have board comments, new business.
Carol's got a solar.
What do you have?
Soliloquy, you can send it soliloquy.
Okay.
I do not.
No,
Sorry
the only
to
thing.
disappoint.
I was gonna move to
Sorry,
wait
but
further.
happy Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Other than that, we have, our next board meeting will be 2 weeks from tomorrow night. We'll be back on Wednesdays, December 9th here at the library. And just, because Joe, pushed it forward, I would like to mention the drama club. I had the opportunity to go this weekend, and I just wanted kudos to those kids and to Mrs. Carey, who did, they took difficult material, and they did a great job. These kids did it amazes me what these children can do. The focus, because even just the logistics, moving those kids around the stage and the lighting and all the things that they did for that, it was amazing. And when you don't even consider the material that was being covered, it was, those kids did a terrific job. They took on a very challenging project, and they really just blew everybody away. I went on Friday night where the kids got a standing ovation, and I have to guess that they probably got similar similar reaction on Saturday and Sunday as well. It was, again, congratulations and thank you to those kids for working so hard. It was really, and we look forward to Beauty and the Beast in the spring. Much lighter fare.
It was, I have to echo Mary Pat, it was thoughtful and challenging,
Yep.
but it brought out the best in our kids in the audience. I thought there were a lot of good discussions around it. I talked to Claire about it, and she talked about the discussions among people that it brought out. And the discussions among the cast as they were trying to walk through how they were going to present this. And that was such a great learning opportunity for our students and for
Absolutely.
everyone in the community. So I have to, it was a really great show.
And not backing down from something that might be a little more challenging or a little, because I think it's important that these kids, that these issues are addressed and these kids, take these opportunities to have these conversations. So thank you very much. Other than that, happy Thanksgiving. I hope anybody's traveling, travel safely and enjoy. Can I get a motion to close? All those in favor?
Aye.